the relationships to me is the absolute key of your success. You have to have great relationships. You got to be workable. I don't care how talented you are, how great you look, how straight you walk, whatever it may be. To me, I found out that having great relationships is the success or the key. Just because that's going to be your support, your foundation when times get rough and when times it's great. And the relationships in all walks.
Well, welcome to the podcast. Today I have Derick Sebastian with me, and we've had many paths cross. We found out we've worked with similar producers and some people. Chris Bradley, a friend of ours, introduced us to get on this podcast. But Derick is a ukulele player, singer, songwriter. He's been teaching, I guess, at a Hyatt resort. You were saying in Maui. He lives in Hawaii on the island of Maui.
Yes.
Of all places, he's done quite a bit with sync licensing as well. You were telling me that Quicksilver and or I guess the Roxy Quicksilver's something that's just recent that's happened. So that's amazing. So Derick, welcome. So glad to have you here. But maybe just introduce yourself, tell a little bit about yourself, and how did you end up getting started in music to start out with?
Yeah, sounds great, Jason. Thank you so much for having me. It's definitely a pleasure and honor to be here. I'm born and raised here on Maui. Been playing the ukulele for close to 29 years, I believe. Just, picked up the ukulele, totally fell in love with it. And, it's just been part of my life. But prior to the ukulele was all sports. So the main story is I was always in baseball and football, growing up as a child. But I think when I was at like 11 years old or something like that, middle school, sixth grade or something, and my asthma got really, really bad. So doctor said no sports. So that really killed me in a sense where what I'm gonna do. So so that's when I picked up the ukulele, at 11 years old. I had a really close mentor of mine who helped me along the way. His name is Mr. Sam Ellis, the late Sam Ellis now. And, it's been a beautiful journey, man, of playing the ukulele, sharing it around the world, and just totally inspiring lives and being fulfilled by that, really. So
That's awesome. Well, and you really were thinking sports, and then you ended up in music. So did you ever think that you'd be doing music as a career growing up?
To be honest, no. I always dreamt of being a professional athlete, especially in baseball and stuff. That's something I love doing, watching, playing, and all that stuff. Now my kids playing it, but I don't force them, but they just kind of stumbled upon it, so which is kind of cool. But the great thing about it is, the dream was to become a professional athlete. It didn't happen. But at the same time, to say that I've connected my musical career with the major sporting events, playing events for like it started like halftime shows for NCAA, EA Sports, the Maui Invitational, and then it kind of like snowballed into MLB, Arizona Diamondbacks, performing the national anthem for them. And then it broke into the NBA. The Lakers called me, the Clippers, and a bunch of PGA. So got to to connect the childhood dream to music. It's kind of surreal, to be quite honest.
That's amazing. And I think and we're like right now, I know you're working on a lot of licensing and sync opportunities. So I think that's really interesting to a lot of people that have written music, and I think it's kind of this like people don't know what does that mean. So maybe explain a little bit on some of the sync and the licensing of what you've been doing, or if you were explaining to somebody who was new to that world, what does that mean?
It's basically writing music for picture. It's not writing music to release to the public for I don't know, CD
For a
Baby, and
CD album, yeah.
or CD, yeah, streaming platforms and stuff. It's a whole different approach. At least for myself, I can speak on, all my life I've been, what is the next album? What is the next hit on the radio? Trying to hit up the DJs and all that stuff, trying to get streaming. It worked. It worked well when I was a live performer, especially going international when I had the opportunities to perform Australia, Thailand, Philippines, Korea, China, Europe. I mean, the fans, it builds up, and to have music for public streaming and selling CDs, that was a great thing. But for music licensing, it's a whole new world. It's really not about the music. It's about the picture and writing music to accommodate the picture. So basically that's what it is. And you're not really working for yourself anymore as an artist. You're working for production, really. So you trying to solve the problem of how can we enhance the picture, the commercial, the advertisement, anything that's, fast forward a little bit. The ukulele is a very underrated instrument. It's hardly, I mean, it was used maybe 8-10 years ago a lot in commercials, but now the ukulele, it's kind of silent on sync licensing. So my goal is to create different types of music on the ukulele genre, just different types of elements, some approach to arrangements, and so it's going pretty well, man. So pretty stoked with that.
Very cool. Well, we may have to do a collaboration of ukulele and piano together down the road.
Oh, I was just gonna say that, that's so cool.
Well, so the podcast is the Successful Musician Podcast. I find it really interesting to ask guests that come on, what does success in music mean to you? Because I've found it's different for everybody. So for you, what would you kind of define as success in music?
I try to keep it simple. I'm very blessed and fortunate to speak to the younger generations, the schools and stuff. And that's the same question they ask, is the money or whatever, the fame, is the success? And I kind of got to break down the walls a little bit and tell them, hey, we got to reverse a little bit, because, being successful is what you put your mind to and what you think success is all about. If to me, success is putting your mind to something and accomplishing it. You got to be successful every day, whether it's a phone call, whether it's an email, whether it's trying to connect and reach out to some kind of executive or whatever it may be. Maybe find out more information, practice your guitar or ukulele, your notes on the piano or whatever. To me, that is success. It's not an overnight thing, it's that the journey, that grind, that you keep showing up every day, and the big things eventually happen. And that's unfortunately, that's what a lot of people see. Oh my God, Derick, you was on Staples Center and you made history with the Lakers. You played the national anthem, first ukulele player ever to be on Staples Center for a home game in the Lakers, the last game between LeBron James and Kobe Bryant, and blah, blah, blah. But nobody knows that it was like a 6 or 7 year in the making just to get in contact with the Lakers. to be quite honest, it was a long time to get connected and then building a trust for a working relationship. And that's just one of those stories where, success comes in all different shapes and sizes. But to be quite honest, it really, it all matters within you. Just small little reachable goals, and that's the success right there, really. So but
absolutely, no, that's I think showing up every day, people all the time, like you said, they think, oh, it's an overnight success, and 7 years is probably a short overnight. A lot of times, I mean, you've been doing this 20 something years, and it's definitely it's not something that just happens overnight. Like, I don't know who made up that term, but I don't think it happens in the music industry very often.
Yeah, you got to put in the work, and to me, I think that's where the success comes from is, I think it begins with that mindset, man. You have to have a strong mindset. You have to, know what you want, know what you're going after, and keep saying yes. And even though there's a lot of detours in this music industry, you got to keep going, find a way, so
yeah,
that's really it. I try to keep it simple, and so far so good.
Well, you were telling me that, I mean, in addition to all this other stuff you're doing, you've also had a relationship with the Hyatt Resort that's there in Maui, and
Yeah,
you do teaching. You teach ukulele then
yeah.
to the people there. So I mean, I'm curious, as you've taught for a number of years, almost a decade now. There, do
Mhm.
you find anything as people are learning a new instrument or trying to learn to get to do that better? What have you learned about teaching others to do an instrument?
Well, number one thing is you cannot approach it as an artist. Especially, I can probably speak for you too. We've done it so long, and it's like it's kind of so second nature, da 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 da, or whatever it may be.
It's easy, right? You just do
It's
this.
easy, yeah, do this. And before I used to approach it like that, and I used to see so much puzzled faces, and I was like, oh, you know what? I gotta I gotta back up a little bit. And you know, the what I had to do is knowing the fact that any instrument, especially the ukulele, it's a fun instrument. We don't gotta read music. We don't have to be very detailed. Just pick up and have fun. So my approach now, and it has been really working, where I just teach a couple patterns, strumming patterns, and I separate the right hand and the left hand, and my goal is to get them playing ukulele. And so far, been very grateful to connect with these guests, not just playing ukulele, but the relationship, because the ukulele is just was an instrument that helped make them fulfill, and they feel that fulfillment and the happiness. And to me, that's what it's all about. So I'm just basically a tool, putting the ukulele in their hand and having them, experiences a great time. And and it's just been a great movement, man, at the Andaz resort at Maui, Wailea. So
Awesome.
loving it.
So you got three boys, you said, and I've got kids as well. And I think one of the things uh, it's always interesting to get a musician's take on, if you could go back in time and give yourself advice, or let's put yourself in your shoes as the dad now, for your sons, and let's say they're thinking, oh, I want to do music, dad. What advice would you have for them today, that you wish somebody maybe would have shared with you back in the day?
Well, this was spoken to me from the very beginning, but only really, like, not recently, but it's starting to really make sense for the past 5, 6, maybe 7, 8, I don't know, years. But the relationships, to me, is the absolute key of your success. You have to have great relationships. You got to be workable. I don't care how talented you are, how great you look, how straight you walk, whatever it may be. To me, I found out that having great relationships is a success, or the key, just because that's going to be your support, your foundation, when times get rough, and when times it's great. And the relationships in all walks of life. I've met people who connected with, oh, I know so and so, and all of a sudden I got this major opportunity, just because I was cool with this guy and he's his friends. And it's just great. And I noticed that, I mean, I've got friends and connections all over the world, and I'm very grateful for that, because they all specialize in different things. And they're just, I call them ohana friends now, family. So if all you work on your craft, work hard on your craft, believe in what you do, never give up, don't care about what people think, just be you, but at the same time focus on establishing great relationships. Don't take it for granted. It's not about what you do, is how you do it. And I've noticed, to keep it super simple, people don't realize, people don't really remember all your accolades, the trophy, where you went, how much times you toured, wherever. People don't really care about that. They care about how you make them feel, and that's what they remember. And to me, that lands back into establishing great relationships. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were talking earlier. I know, earlier in your career, you said you were out in LA, at an SLS conference. And tell a little bit, how did you get there? And I think one of the interesting things is that a lot of the musicians that we talk to on this this podcast, they've spent a lot of time educating themselves, whether that's going to conferences or, I mean, everybody seems to be selling a course these days, but talk a little bit about that, the education factor early on in your career, and maybe how that helped you.
Yeah. Back then, like how you said, it wasn't as accessible. There wasn't much camps. There wasn't, I mean, now when I think about it, it's very important to continue to educate yourself. Now it's very accessible, online courses, all that stuff. But back then, I went to a couple conferences and stuff like that. But one of the main ones that I really remember is the speech level singing one by Seth Riggs. And I was, my vocal coach was affiliated with speech level singing at that time. Her name is Joy Fields. And she told me about it. And I was like, oh, I'm not really a singer. I'm just kind of using singing, to kind of enhance the ukulele. She'd say, no, but you don't know, like, it's not about singing, you got to go out there and just expand and explore and make friends. And I was like, okay, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? So I went, knowing the fact that I'm not a singer. And lo and behold, man, it was life-changing. I met Chuck Myers that we were just talking about. Joel Stevenett, he was playing on stage. But anyways, when I got to the camp, I was just encouraged, just be you. If you're carrying a ukulele and that's what you perform, when it's time for you to perform in front of these hundreds of students, play the ukulele as your main focus, your strength. And then you add a second song, which is a singing song, a simple one. And that's what I did. And to be quite honest, that approach really opened up the mindset of, this is my strength. And, from then on, I mean, that camp, going to this kind of educational stuff, I met so many great people. And up until today, I mean, that was back in 2004. But up until today, man, we keep in touch with a handful. I keep in touch with them. And there's a handful of them, man. It's great.
Yeah, no, and I think when you get a chance to meet some of those people that really, truly, when you talk about relationships, I think of Chuck. I mean, I've known Chuck for 20 plus years as well. And he's just one of these people that he brings out the best in others. And he did I'm sure he made you feel like you were capable.
Oh, yeah.
I would not be here today were it not for Chuck Myers either. I can still remember going down. I was at his house in the studio, and he had that piano there, and John Schmidt and the piano guys were, he was doing production for them, and we were working together on a project with the three of us to do John's shows, and Chuck had me sit down at the piano and play, and he's like, hey, you're good. This is good. And I'm like, it's just nothing, and he's like, no, you need to do this. And he just made me believe in myself. And on many other occasions, I think the greatest musicians that I've run across in my career, they're ones that they build others up. They find they find that superpower that musician maybe didn't know they had, and they allow it to just kind of become, grow. It's almost like you get out on stage and you don't feel confident, but they give you that confidence to shine, and when you really didn't know you could.
No, that's so on point, Jason, and that's exactly what it is. My mind was so enclosed of, I have to be a vocalist to get to this camp, and that wasn't even it. I got encouragement, I got light, I got love, I got support, I've got encouragement, and same thing. I mean, that's exactly what Chuck did for you. That's what he did for me back at camp. And it was just not about vocals, to be quite honest. It was about establishing a relationship and the support and all that good stuff, man. And that means that to me, that goes a lot, goes very far, especially in your career, as far as what we're talking about in the music career. So the support is very important in relationships as well.
Right. Well, it's very rare that you find successful musician people that haven't been very giving of their time. I think we all have been, and we all started out with a piano teacher, a ukulele teacher that taught us a little bit. And I think at some level we all feel like, okay, I need to give back and do something to to pay, somebody else paid it forward. I need to pay back and help others.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really cool with the music community. So it's a very giving group. Boy,
Absolutely.
so I guess next things that you've got coming up and that you're excited about, is there anything that our audience would be that you actually, let me back up. I'm going to, if you were to kind of think back of like, what has been the most impactful one or two things in your career, or in your life that's helped you end up in doing music? If you can kind of like pinpoint, is it a book you read? Is it a course you did? Is there anything specifically that somebody that's listening out there could be like, okay, Derick said this is what made all the difference to him. What's that one or two things maybe?
Wow. There wasn't any particular event that happened that transformed me to point to music. Like I said, the ukulele kind of stumbled upon me, and it just, because my school security was playing the ukulele, and I thought it was such a cool instrument. And then it just, I'm talking about, this is years back when I first started, and my brother came home. He was taking ukulele lessons at the local high school. So his job was to take a ukulele home and practice. So there were like ukulele being shown to me in different angles and simultaneously. And so that's how I really picked up the instrument. But I think ukulele is just a tool, just looking back at this whole grand scheme of things. I think, in my opinion, the ukulele was used to help bring out what I was feeling, or what I was, trying to emote on. It gave me light, kind of deal, and hope, just because back then sports got taken away. My dad passed away when I was 3 years old. So, I kind of grew up without having a father. So, that kind of filled the void a little bit, and it gave me a little bit of encouragement. So, back to your question about, how can artists, be fulfilled in some kind of a way of music. My thing is, you just got to believe in yourself, and you have to trust and believe that you have a gift, whether it's music, whether it's sports, or anything. Everybody has a gift, and it's up to us to say yes to it. Sometimes, for the most part, it's very uncomfortable. It's very like, oh, I don't want to do that, I'm not good enough. Or, no, that's not for me, that's for them. And you kind of push it off a little bit. But it's such a miracle when you do say yes and you kind of stick through it. And then you find out, wow, this is actually kind of cool, and you work at it, and then you meet great people, you get the support, and then you start to feel fulfilled, like, oh, wow, this is super cool. And all of a sudden it's a career. Ukulele, whoever thought ukulele could be a full-time thing for me? I didn't. So,
Right.
So just gotta believe that, there's something that, every human being on this earth is called to do. And it's up to us to say yes, kind of deal. And, it leads to, everything leads to something. That's what I believe, whether it's good or bad. So if you do great things, it leads to even greater things, kind of deal. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that made sense, Jason. I'm sorry.
Mic drop. You just left so many value bombs right there that
I don't know what I was talking about, but I just kind of felt that that's what I had to say. But I think I went totally off your question, man.
No, I think that was fantastic. So we're about out of time, Derick. So if people wanted to listen to some of your music, or they want to check out a little bit more about you, I know they can go visit you at the resort in Hawaii, the Hyatt Resort, or in Maui there. But where else can they find out about you if they don't have money to jump on an airplane and come see you tomorrow?
Go Jason Tonioli's house. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, let's keep it super simple. My website, dericksebastian.com, and you can find out all the information there, man. Social media, to my licensing, to my weddings, to whatever I'm doing, private events, I'm there. So
awesome. Well, Derick, this has been fun. Thanks so much. And we're going to have to definitely catch up some more and on the next one. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna
role.
record this again, and if we share it with him, it'll be fun. I'll do a chop on here. But
Yeah, it's all good.
yeah, keep going.
For Chuck, I remember for the SLS,
Mhm.
he was the live audio engineer. And I walked in with my ukulele, saying, "What's up, man?" And we just started kind of, just chatting and stuff like that. And I think back then the new Boyz system just came out, that the line arrays and stuff. So he was testing them out. I was like, wow. So he helped me plug in my ukulele, and I was like on high, man. It was like, this is crazy. I've never heard, my ukulele through this kind of system. And I think he played what do you call, I think he was on keyboards too for the live.
He's incredible on
Yeah,
keyboards. Like that
yeah.
guy is the
I
most
think
talented person musically I've ever. Oh, he's just
right.
he's like a Leonardo da Vinci type guy. He can do
No,
everything.
So I was tripping out. He was doing the live sound. He goes on stage and he plays piano and he just rips it. So I was like, man, what don't you do? So that's the kind of thing we're laughing about. And you know, I asked him, hey, Chuck, and would you guys mind backing me up? When I perform for my open mic and it's in a couple nights. He's like, oh yeah, we're the house band, so just come on with your music and this and that. I said, oh, okay. So I was worried because I don't do music sheets, so that night I came in, hey, we're gonna do Carlos Santana's Europa. There's like 5 or 6 chords. Here's the chords and just play and have fun. And they look at me, they're like, are you serious? This is it? I was like, yeah, let's just go jam. And we had the greatest time on stage, man. It was
awesome.
Yeah, and that's the story with Chuck, man. I connected with him that night, and for the rest of the camp, what, 5, 6 days, we just hung out, man. Just kind of checked in on each other throughout the camp. It was I think it's still there. It's at Mount St. Mary's College.
Hmm.
I'm in Brentwood in LA. So yeah, Chuck's the man.
Oh, he's a great guy. Every album I've released has been through his studio with him.
Is it in Salt Lake City?
It's in
Salt Lake?
Salt Lake. It's just south,
Yeah.
about 30 minutes from the airport. So have you ever
Oh
been out to
my
Utah
God.
before?
I never. My family, well, my wife, excuse me, my sisters, my in-laws, and she married you know, families from in Utah. My brother-in-law's family is all in Utah. It's crazy,
You guys
So
got to get out and visit.
I know. So yeah, I know. We always talk about
So
family in Utah and this and that. So I got to get out there.
if you're doing the sports, I mean, have you guys got? I mean, there's a lot of Hawaiian people, BYU, Utah. They come out
Oh
and play out
yeah.
here. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Be careful when you say the Utes in the BYU though. You know what I'm saying?
Are you a BYU guy?
I cheer for more BYU, obviously, because that's my brother-in-law guys' team. My sister married Tongan, so all the Polynesians, they're all around. They got cousins on the BYU team and talking about this guy and that guy. So but it's more BYU driven here in Hawaii for sure, rather than the Utes, So
I think the Utes have tried to bring in. They've got some of the Polynesians in there, but I think having Kalani Sataki come in there, that definitely was that helped. So
yeah, that was huge actually, So but small world, man.
So are you guys LDS then too, if you got all these Utah ties, or is it BYU ties, or no?
What's that?
Are
sorry,
you guys
Jason?
are you guys LDS then, if you got all these BYU ties? It's not very often I get BYU people I talk to.
Yeah. Well, I think so. Yeah. Shoot. Yeah.
All right. Got it. No,
oh, good.
I'm doing a tour out with the travel agency I own. We're doing a tour out to Hawaii in March. I wish I was going on it because I haven't been back to Hawaii in like over 10 years now. So
that's great. This is on the boat, right? The cruise you're talking
about.
No,
we're bringing, the one we're doing is for old people to come into Oahu. And we're basically going to the PCC and the cultural center there.
Cool.
And
yeah.
We'll do the Arizona, and we'll do the Bishop's Museum. I know they're going to go to the temple there at BYU Hawaii.
Yeah.
They're going to go in and do that.
In Laie. Yep. Right.
Laie.
Yeah.
So anyway, it'd be fun to, we need to get a Maui trip though. I need to somehow figure out how to get a group out to Maui.
Man, Jace, just let me know, dude, because yeah, I saw that. I read that upon, on your bio or something where, that travel agency or that
mhm.
that cruise travel that you do. So I think that's so cool. Do you play on those too, or do you tour on those or
So I own the agency. So my goal is to set up the
wow.
agency so that you could take fans. So if you have fans and they wanted to come hear you, you could, we could organize all the trip for people and help take care of all the logistics that happen with that. And
Wow.
so, I just got back from Alaska. We took a small group up there. That was a good time. But
Mhm.
we're, a lot of the stuff that we're doing for some of these other tours, we've got like the Hawaii one. It's a Mormon and Polynesian history in the Hawaiian Islands
Mhm.
tour. So it's very much BYU, Hawaii,
Yeah,
just kind of
yeah,
that Polynesian. And when the church ended up coming there, and they're going to go see a lot of the sites and share a lot of the
yeah.
culture there. It'll be fun. It's going to be a good time.
That's it, man. Laie, that's it. By the Polynesian Cultural Center. So, but
Yeah.
there's a temple in the Big Island too, right?
Yep.
In
In Kona.
Kona. Yep,
Yep.
yep.
So have you
So,
been over there to
because my
see that
sister,
one?
well, we've been to. I mean, obviously we can't go inside, but we've been to it. With my sister guys
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah, it's beautiful, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
beautiful.
amazing.
Maui needs one now, right?
Yeah, we got a bunch of Mormon churches here, but no temple, not yet. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, it's
So
so pretty there. It's as pretty as a temple when you're on the island, right?
yeah,
Maui, Kauai, it's gorgeous. So, well, cool.
yeah.
Well,
Shucks, I gotta. Yeah.
I'm gonna for sure let Chuck know. I'm gonna shoot him a message and say, hey, guess who I just talked to? So, so kind of the plan for these. So we're releasing one of these per week. Is there any like upcoming thing that you have that you'd want to coordinate timing with, that you're doing a release of something, or not really? No.
Nah, not really,
Okay.
Jace. I mean, just do your thing, and
Okay.
when it comes out, I'll get a link and shoot them over and whatever. Yeah, on the
Send it out
update
to your
page.
friends or family or anybody you
Yeah.
know. It'll probably be, I don't know, 4 to 8 weeks. I'm not sure. I actually, so
Yeah.
what happens
Yeah.
is I'll get the recordings over to the team in the Philippines. They'll end up doing a lot of the
Mhm.
work, and then they just schedule it for me. So
Yeah.
you'll
Yeah.
be on a website, but yeah, it's going to be good. So cool. Uh,
I'm happy, man. This is so cool to connect and hopefully one day we get to collaborate or whatever, man, but I'm very truly blessed, man, to be part of your movement and finally cross paths. So
well, thank you. It's been fun. We'll have to get you out here to go see Chuck one day. But and if you ever have ideas for a piano and ukulele song, let me know. It'd be fun to do
oh
a collab on that. So if you listen to any of my music at all, or do you know what type of music I do?
yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely. I don't know, to be honest, the names of it. I was just kind of, streaming from your website, and
Mm-hmm.
it took me to like different areas of there's music sitting. So I listened, and I mean, you're crazy stuff, man. I mean, it's just amazing. Like it's beyond virtuoso. I mean, your arrangement, your playing, it's just so like, and I was thinking, same exact thing you just say. Oh, what would it be like if we add a ukulele or something?
Well, it would be fun to
So,
do. So
oh my
we should do
goodness,
like some sort
great
of
stuff.
somewhere over the rainbow mixed. You could do the new is version of over somewhere over the rainbow or something with the piano.
Ooh. Oh man, I'm thinking about it.
But
I don't know, man.
so
That'll be good.
we'd have to go use Chuck's studio. But I've got just right out here. I'm looking at it. I've got a 2,000 square foot recording studio here as well. So if you ever
Are
came
you
out to Utah,
serious?
so we're just finishing up right now. But I've got I mean, you
Man,
could come out
Jace.
here and visit, and if you wanted to record some stuff and see Utah, we could totally do something together.
Man, I might not leave, dude. You might
Ah,
get me in trouble. I might not come back to the wife and family, dude, or move them out to Utah.
we got to get those boys playing football out of BYU, right?
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah. You guys, how's the weather out in Utah, man? It's been good.
Oh, it's been good. That's good. It's always good.
Where are you in Utah? Is it Salt Lake too?
So I'm just about 30 minutes north of the airport in Salt Lake, and then Chuck is about 30 minutes south of the airport.
He's
So
in
he's in
Sandy?
Sandy, yeah. So it's Sandy.
Sandy?
So it's
Gotcha.
all, if you were to take, I mean, take the big city like Honolulu, and you know how it's like spread
Yeah.
out. it's all this
totally.
you like Sandy and Salt Lake are all part of the same thing. It's
right.
Yeah.
Nah, it's all good, man. I can't wait. I mean, it's just meeting a lot of people more and more in Utah. So I have no excuses now to not stop there. So
cool. Well, awesome. Well, I'm going to get to work on chopping some of this up and get this off to the team, but appreciate your time today. And I'm excited to get, this has been a fun interview. So appreciate you.
Jason, you take care, brother, and much love to the family. And we'll definitely be talking soon. All right.
Well, mahalo.
All right. Okay, Jason. Aloha.
Aloha. Bye. Hey, it's Jason here, and I hope you've gotten a lot of value out of this episode. Be sure to check out our show notes to learn more about our guest today. And if you'd like to support our podcast, there's a few things that you can do to help us grow. First, if you hit subscribe, it will help ensure that you don't miss a future episode. Second, if you'll share it with your friends on social media or send it via email or message, it helps us spread the word as well. And third, if you leave an honest review, it really helps with the algorithms so that other people can find our podcast. Finding success and fulfillment in the music industry is possible, and I look forward to seeing you on our next episode.